What's going on, everybody? It's Triple Crown 24 back today with a non-PSA reveal video, which has been kind of scarce for me today, and that's kind of what today's video is about. I do have some cards to show off, as I typically do, but they're gonna go alongside, I guess, a little story time. I guess a little bit of just what I've been feeling lately. And normally I would turn the camera around for this video, but one of the reasons I haven't been making many videos is because I don't want to turn the camera around because I have a lot of stuff behind me right now. I have a lot of cards I've been putting up in my eBay store. Business is booming. Things are going incredibly well, and I'm incredibly thankful for that, but it's kind of made my office a little bit of a mess. I don't really want that on camera. So yeah, I'm turning the camera this way. Anyways, so lately I haven't been making too many videos, and I've been picking up some cards that I've been very excited to show off, but usually when I get them in, for some reason I just don't feel like making a video that day. And I'll explain. So here's one of them here, and this is probably the biggest one I've picked up in recent times. It's the 2018 Topps Finest Superfractor 1 of 1 of Mickey. And I actually have a really cool story to go along with this. I will save that for later on in the video, but that's one of the cards I've picked up lately. In addition to that, I've got a few more that I'll show off. But in particular, like this card right here, I could tell that there was some kind of problem. The fact that I didn't make a video the day I got a Superfractor in, because I pretty much always make one anytime I get a Superfractor in. And it was for a lot of things that have built up. I find myself going through this cycle that usually, like, once or twice a year I get into this funk where I don't really want to make a video. I have like no desire to do so, and it lasts for anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks typically. I'm very much a creature of habit, so I've come to recognize that this is something that I'll do, and then I'll kind of just jump back on the wagon. And I keep noticing this cycle, but it seems to get more and more, how do I put this, significant, I guess, each time that this happens. And in this past kind of little rut, I guess you could call it, that I've been in, I've just kind of sat back and thought about it a lot and figured out why I feel the way I do about certain things. And one of my really bad habits, which I've talked about before, is the fact that I will cut off videos because I don't like how they sound or anything, or I don't like something that I said, or I'm afraid that I'm going to upset someone. More on that later. And today I've promised myself that I'm not going to do that. So this is my first take. If I ramble, if it doesn't make any sense, then you're seeing me for my authentic self. And there's nothing wrong with that. And that's really the biggest problem here, is that I don't feel that I've been 100% authentic, or that when I've tried to make videos and I decided to kind of can them, that I just wasn't me. It didn't sound like me. I didn't sound energized, and I kind of had to go back to the lab and figure out why exactly that is that way. So kind of what I've come up with is that I have put a bunch of unnecessary pressure on myself through both internal and external factors. So let's go with the internal ones first. Is I'm very much someone who doesn't like to upset other people. I'm very non-confrontational. I would describe myself as very empathetic. I think that's something that is more so subjective, and that's something that other people kind of have to call you. But I like to try to strive to be as empathetic as possible, and always try to understand, to the best of my ability, why someone may act a certain way or feel a certain way. And that way it helps me kind of, I guess, I'm getting really philosophical here. Anyways, the whole point of that being is that I never want to say anything in a video that is going to dampen anyone else's hobby experience. And I know a lot of people might think that I'm just being way too PC and I shouldn't care. I should just let loose. It's just the way that I am. And I acknowledge that. I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing. It's more so a hindrance on myself, because maybe sometimes I censor myself too much, where you're not even really getting the real me anymore. that might be an issue that I need to look into. That's something that I've definitely thought about and something that I have actively tried to work on to get better with. With doing that as well is that a lot of times I will feel bad with the reciprocating the interaction, I guess, on my channel. Where when someone comments on my video, I feel almost indebted to then go check out their channel and watch their content. And I have said this before, I'll say it again now. I sure hope that no one feels that way about me. Because if I watch your content, it's because I genuinely enjoy it. And I don't expect you to, come do me a favor by watching my stuff. If you don't like my stuff, then don't watch it. That's pretty much that's what I can say. Like, I never want anyone to feel like they are obligated to watch something that I put out. And I would hope that is mutual. I'm gonna guess that it's probably not mutual across the board, but there's just a lot of times where I don't want to feel like forced to to interact a certain way, just because I feel bad about like not interacting more. And part of what's come up too is that I've been working on the eBay store anywhere from 10 to 16 hours a day, depending on the day. And it's a lot of work. It's a lot of card stuff, and that doesn't include, in my breaks, I'm usually looking for cards for myself, where I'm talking about stuff with hobby-related people. And I do have, friends. I have, a few things that have come into my life, and a few people that have come into my life in recent months that have definitely changed things up and given me a different pace, and I'm incredibly thankful for them. This has been one of the happiest times of my life, actually. But there's something that's been kind of missing from my hobby/YouTube experience, and that's why I'm making this video today. Point being is that spending that much time in the hobby, it's pretty much a full-time job. Well, it is my full-time job. It's not pretty much, it really is. And I'll put it this way. Let's say that you are a banker and you go to the bank every day. You work Monday through Friday. You work a standard 40-hour work week. When you come home, do you want to spend several hours listening to videos or podcasts or reading about banking? I mean, maybe a little bit. If it's your passion, then yeah, you'll want to read about that and interact with it more so. But you're probably also going to want to break from it at some point. And that's kind of the point that I've run into with this, is that being hobby 24/7, I found it is not healthy for me, because that can lead to burnout. And with this being my profession, I can't have that burnout. So there's been a lot of days where I want to watch something that's non-card related, or listen to something, or read something that's non-card related. And I think that's also healthy for me too, in a sense that it makes me a more well-rounded person. If all I know about, talk about, and interact with is sports cards, then I become very one-dimensional. And that can put a strain on my personal development as well as my relationships with other people as well. So it's really something that I've become conscious of, and I feel bad that I can't watch as much YouTube as I used to be able to, but I understand that it's part of the business, and I also understand that I shouldn't feel indebted at all to watch videos. That's how I feel about it. And see, that's something that I normally wouldn't say on camera, but today I said it. That's just me being my genuine self and expressing my true feelings. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. I don't think I'm saying anything malicious, and I'm sure I'll be crucified in the comments if people think otherwise, but that's okay. So yeah, that's been something that's been kind of on my mind, and really I've been interacting more so on like Twitter and Instagram. I've been trying to do the collectible a day thing on Twitter, where I show off a piece of my collection, because this is another part of this kind of puzzle that is my mind and my weird tendencies, is that I like to show off stuff that I already have. Like, how many times have I shown off that dang 2000 Topps Traded Miggy autograph? Probably more times than I can count on my fingers. But I just love that card so much, and I do try to present it a different way each time that I show it off and talk about something different with it, or present it from a new angle, just to keep it fresh for not only my sake but for you guys as well who choose to engage with my content. And I found that with Twitter, it's kind of easier, and Instagram too, to kind of show off something that you've already shown off before. And I like that, because on here it doesn't always seem that. Like, I've seen and personally have received criticism before for showing off something multiple times. And I get that to some extent. I mean, people want to see new things, and people want to see what the new pickups are, the new products and all that. But I also just really enjoy appreciating what I already have, especially in what everyone's talking about right now is a crazy, crazy market where a lot of people are priced out of certain things, including myself. I've been outbid on and just shocked of the final sale price of so many cards lately that I've had to retool myself. And I've still been able to, pick up cards as normal, but I've had to kind of change my approach. And that's another part of it too. With this is that the content that I've been putting out on Instagram and Twitter, I've been a lot happier with, because it's going back to my roots of why I started any of those accounts. And that was just to show off stuff, look at other stuff that other people have, and interact. That was the main goals. And I found myself, and I am fully okay with admitting this, because I feel that it may be a flaw in myself, a flaw in my character, whatever you may want to call it, or whatever I may perceive it as, or you may perceive it as. It's something that bothers me, and therefore it's something that I personally need to correct for my own sake, is that I've been caught up more so with the numbers lately. And I've seen this, it hasn't been directed towards me, but within the community, people talking about, I guess, just interactions in terms of view counts and likes and dislikes and number of comments and all that stuff, and all these analytic numbers. And that is not why I got into YouTube. My whole philosophy when I first started this channel way back in the day in like 2014 was just to show off cards. And when I started this channel in its current form in 2018, it was to show off my TTMs that I got. And if people watched, that was great. If they didn't, well, I would have something to go back and watch myself. And then as I kind of gained more momentum with the channel and started making new friends and gaining somewhat of, I guess I'll call it a following, I felt more pressure to uphold a certain standard, that I needed to put out content that people really wanted to see. And that's usually when you see me kind of go away for a while, it's because that pressure has kind of burned me out of making content. I find this cycle repeating itself. So at some point, if I keep making the same mistake in my mind over and over of just getting burned out from my own inhibitions, then I need to do something to correct that, because all I'm doing, I can only blame myself for putting that unnecessary pressure on myself. And that's something that is unpleasant, and I feel that I need to correct for my own sake. So I have written down on a sticky note. This might sound ridiculous to some people, but I did it just as a reminder, because sometimes I will do this, is that I'll make a mental note to myself just to make or I'll make a note like that's not a mental note, to make a reminder to myself to do a certain thing, as obvious as that thing may sound, or as dumb as it may sound for me to do that. It's just there to have that in writing, that, past version of myself said this, and that I need to remember that. So I have a few little sticky notes here behind my computer on my desk that I look at as reminders, kind of my core beliefs. And one that I have right now is for YouTube is to go back to the basics. And that means just watching videos to watch videos that I find interesting and have fun. Make videos that I think are interesting to me to have fun. And whether or not people watch them or not is their own choice. But I don't really, this is my channel. This is the content that I want to put out. And at the end of the day, I'm enjoying, I got to enjoy what I'm doing, because this isn't a job for me. YouTube is not a job. It's supposed to be something that's for fun. And I definitely think that I have personally taken the fun out of it for myself recently, that I need to adjust that. So I hope that that made sense. Um, if this video may get any backlash, like I said, I never want to say anything that is going to upset people, but inevitably it does happen. I think a lot of this is projections of myself. This doesn't apply to anyone out there. This is just a 15-minute monologue of self-discovery to start the video, is what I would consider it, and just putting it out there because there's a lot of people in this community who I very much value their friendships or acquaintanceships, whichever you want to use to describe me. And I very much appreciate those, especially those who have stuck around to this point in the video and have chosen to engage with me in whatever sense it may be and to any extent that that may be. So with that said, I'm going to show off my cards now. And I already showed off this one here. Like I said, this is the big one recently. I actually have another Superfractor that is coming in, and I will do another video sometime soon once that one comes in to talk about why I got two in the same month and kind of what this month has looked like, because this has been kind of unlike any other stretch in my super collecting career, you could say. So this was a card that back when I was aiming to get my first Superfractor in 2018, I ended up getting the 2018 Bowman Chrome Superfractor, but there were a few that I had been eyeballing and one that I had actually tried to win prior to that. And this was that one. This was the one that I had tried to win. This was sold in the summer of 2018, so right around the time that this product came out. It was a little bit afterwards. And I saw this one pop up, and it ended up going for $100 at auction. At the time, I just didn't have the money to go any higher than that. And I got outbid. It was disappointing. And in hindsight, I kind of regretted not going a little bit more and just cutting my card budget for however much period of time I needed to just to secure this card, because it's a one-of-a-kind type of card. Again, something that I'll talk about in a later video. Sorry, I kind of had a brain fart there. But yeah, so this card I lost at auction then. It was then sold by a guy who's been selling off his Miggy collection over the years because he's using it to pay for his kids' college, which is awesome. He has a fantastic collection, but the fact that I don't think he collected it with that intention. From conversations that we've had, and by conversations I mean just a little back and forth through eBay Messenger. But I think that's really cool that he's been able to do that. And from what I've seen, he's been very successful with it, so I'm sure that he's been able to contribute a lot just from these cards that he's sold. And he's had other stuff too that's non-Miggy that he's been selling. But this was picked up by a guy who's become a pretty good hobby friend of mine, who is also a big Miggy collector. He's got some stuff that I'm envious of, but it's cool to talk about, Miggy stuff with him, and just when it's always cool to talk about the hobby with someone who gets it. I'm sure a lot of us have people who are close to us who just don't get it, but when you find someone who gets it and they also get it when they're in your kind of niche in the hobby, that's sometimes even better. So I really enjoy talking about Miggy with him, and he has been going after some pretty big Cabrera cards that would be way out of my range, and I've been kind of funding some of his big purchases here that will be coming up for him by buying some of these Superfractors that he's been willing to let go. So this was one that I had to have because I'd missed out on it twice. He was the one who bought it from that other seller, and I have it now. So in addition to that, I have picked up this Finest Flashbacks Refractor. This is one I've been after for a long time. They're getting tougher and tougher to find, and they become a little bit more expensive each time. This one I just paid up for. It was more than I wanted to pay, but I won it, and I have it now. So the hunt to try to find that one is over. I would like to get a black at some point, but I can only imagine what that would be. Here's a cool triple relic card. I forget if I've shown this off before, but these are three of my favorite players in baseball: Miguel Cabrera, Will Myers, Max Scherzer on the triple threads. Really been into the triple threads relics lately. and one for the 2021 Topps Rainbow, the 70th anniversary parallel out of 70. These little rainbows that I've been doing for 2021 Topps have kind of come to a halt. I'm having a really hard time finding a lot of the parallels, and a lot of times when they pop up, they go for astronomical prices compared to what I'm used to paying, and I just don't think it's worth it for me to spend that kind of money, spending 3 to 5 times what I was spending in the past to get the same cards a year prior. Just taking into consideration what the card is and paying for parallels that just don't really, I guess, speak to me, you could say. So that's kind of been my thoughts with it, and it's definitely been difficult, especially after how hard I went on the 2020 Rainbow. But uh, at the end of the day, I'm building this collection for me. I need to do what is best for me, and I need to be smart with it too to be able to enjoy it the best I can. I need to have fun with it too, and sometimes paying some of those prices is not fun. So that's some of the pickups I'm going to show off today. I'll have some more that I'll show off soon. Just have some fun with some of these videos and not worry about the little stuff anymore. So that is that. Thank you for sticking with me if you did. I appreciate you listening to my ramblings and my inner my personal thoughts and stuff. So as always, take care, stay safe, be kind.